Welcome to the final episode of a Christmas Belonging series, everyone. Oh, that makes me kind of sad to say, actually.
I know.
Oh, like, could we...
Can we have more? I know, it's so
Please, can I have some more? It's Christmas this week, and we are really excited to be wrapping up this series so close to the holidays. Even if we aren't excited to be wrapping it up, we are very impressed with ourselves and our timing.
And I love the nice wrapping holiday present pun.
Metaphor thing.
Yes, metaphor thing. Yes, words. We have them.
No, we've used up our yearly allotment.
I know.
Before we get to our wonderful discussion with much improved audio quality over the last 2 episodes, first, our announcements.
Yeah. So first up, I would like to point out that the AudioVerse Awards have begun the voting process for the finalists that were just announced this last weekend. One thing I am very excited about is A Horror Borealis Presents Losers, a Love Story is up for multiple categories, including Best New Improvised Production, Best Player Direction in a New Production, and Best Players in a New Improvised Production. You can also find entries for Campaign Skyjacks and Courier's Call on there. So it would be really great if you could head on over to the voting page and give your favorite One Shot Network shows some support and vote for them.
Speaking of the One Shot Podcast Network, if you like what the network is doing, or even if it's just what we're doing on the show because we're on the network, you can head over to the One Shot Patreon at patreon.com/oneshotpodcast and consider contributing if you are able to. If you join at the $5 or higher level, you'll get access to the One Shot Network secret archive with all sorts of goodies that the various shows are contributing to it. We have a few great episodes in there already. They are a lot more laid back, believe it or not. Yeah. We are able to actually play some of the games we cover, kind of. Usually quick versions. I won't promise like a full soundscaped AP the way Ryan does with some of the other ones he works with.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay.
Someday maybe.
Someday. or hear me out. No.
Or maybe not.
Maybe not. It's a lot of fun, and we're getting ready to record some more of those. So you could be getting a monthly bonus episode from us starting after the holidays this year, if that's something you're interested in. Yeah. I will also say that supporting the Patreon does, in fact, support our show as well. The network pays for things like our hosting fees. They paid for our original logo art.
Yeah.
When we are in need of new equipment, like if our microphone is going to start falling apart pretty soon, the network does provide some of that. So
yeah.
It does directly help us as well. So we would appreciate it if you're able to.
Very excited. There is a new microphone on the way for Amelia right now, and I am chomping at the bit to get at that audio.
I know. I'm pretty excited about it because this is still the original one I started with, and it's worked great for me.
Yeah.
But we've definitely seen over the last couple months, we've had a number of annoying technical issues with it being finicky, and luckily we've only had one time where the audio was the real problem.
Exactly.
But, yeah, it's time.
It's time. And you know what? I think it's going to help out a lot, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what it sounds like. So
yes. So thank you, One Shot Network Patreons, for making that happen.
Absolutely. For now, let's hop back into this extra holiday flavored discussion. Then stick around for the call to action. A little year-end recap of our thoughts and the outtakes after the show.
I don't think there are any outtakes for this one. I think that we were amazing and perfect.
Sure.
To talk about.
Sure.
Sure. Enjoy. Welcome back to our discussion episode. Last time we finished our session 0 for A Christmas Belonging. This episode, we will be discussing the character creation process. We are thrilled to welcome back Danny from the Pod of Wonder podcast and the designer of this game. Do you want to reintroduce yourself for everyone and tell us a little bit about the character you made?
Sure. Hi, I am Danny. Any pronouns are fine. I am a game designer and podcaster from Philadelphia. I made this game, and the character I made is Summers, singular, Summer Worthington IV. She's the boss from the big city. She does real estate and land development and business things, and she has come to this small town in order to try and build a wind farm.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, why don't you tell us about your character?
All right, so I am making Rick Newcomb, who is from the future, about 60 years from the future, has come back to the past to try to fix things in more ways than one. He is trying to get his grandparents together. One of them, or his parents together.
Yeah, parents,
one of them is Summer. And the other is your character, Amelia.
Yes, I made Maribel Winters, who is an event planner originally from Goldpond, but was living in the big city of Cityopolis, as I keep calling it, and is back in Goldpond to plan their big event of the Winter Honey Festival.
Absolutely. And we actually created the town of Goldpond together, which is surrounding Lake Goldpond as well, which is so much.
It's not a pond.
It's not a pond.
No,
and it's not
lake.
pronounced Gold Pond. Yeah,
you don't need ponds. It's a lake. It's fine.
And Summer, not being from here, keeps pronouncing it Gold Pond.
Yeah. Oh no. And then there's Hibernate is our town mascot. And it's all sorts of a lot of fun honey.
Yeah, Hibernate, our internet cafe.
Yeah. The bear in the bee suit mascot.
Yeah, we went all in on the bear, on the honey and bear.
We really
things.
did.
Yeah,
it started out really small, but
you pick one important detail and it grows so much more. That's
the thing I love about like collaborative world building, though, is that you start with that one tiny thing that doesn't really matter much, and then like it just sort of escalates from there.
Like what if we lean into that one thing really hard?
And we really did.
And now everything else is about that one thing.
Well, let's go ahead and dive right into a segment we are calling a D20 for your thoughts.
D20 for your thoughts?
In this segment, we like to talk to our guests about their thoughts on the character creation process and how it relates to this system and to other games. But first, the cliche question that we like to get out of the way. Danny, tell us about how you ended up here in RPGs.
Well, my experience with RPGs dates back to the old computer game Baldur's Gate. My sister's boyfriend tried to get her to play it, and she didn't really enjoy it, but I really enjoyed it. And I was telling a friend about it, and it's like, oh, yeah, that's Dungeons and Dragons. There's the whole tabletop thing built around that, and you can just do whatever you want in it. And I'm like, go on.
Discuss. Yeah. Tell me more.
So we played a few games where, we didn't really know what we were doing, and the books were long and boring. So it was like, roll a high number and you did the thing. But his parents were kind of weirdly Christian, where there was like a satanic panic moment where they threw out all the books and stuff.
Oh, no.
And so I was kind of playing in a few more games off and on during college, but it wasn't until around maybe like 2015, I think, where I got a job that let me listen to podcasts all day. And I found the One Shot podcast. Nice. And, I discovered that listening to other people playing role-playing games was a thing. And there's a ton of other RPGs out there. And so, I started, listening to podcasts and collecting more games that I could ever play and starting to make my own games that I could never play. And, and also starting a podcast. And now I'm here.
Absolutely.
That's a great journey, though. That's like, I think I am so grateful for gaming podcasts, for dragging me back into this hobby, because it was something that I had done, and I kind of like, then I took that sort of time off, and then was vaguely still aware that like that was a thing that people did, and like, oh, I remember that fondly, but that's for other people now. And then getting to listen to podcasts and being like, oh, there's lots of these games and lots of people playing them, and just getting connected to that community too, and then finding people to play with, and just sort of like rekindling that joy it's well, obviously for me now at this point been life-changing, but so good.
Absolutely. So what do you look for in a system as far as character creation? Like, what pieces need to be there for great characters to happen for you?
So from a gameplay standpoint, I like for character creation to kind of prepare me for what's going to be happening in the rest of the game. Like whether that's like picking a bunch of skills, or like what character creation tells you about the system, whether there's rules for combat, or like rules for like exploration. Like I want character creation to kind of let me know what the game is about, so I can sort of play with that space a little more. The other thing that I kind of look for are ways to flesh out your character a little more and like make them relate to other people. Like there's that trope of like you all meet in a tavern and then go on a road trip together, and that sounds like a nightmare to me. Like like going
I keep saying that. I'm like, maybe this is my experience as a woman, but like I am not going anywhere with people I met in a bar, especially if they're carrying swords.
Yeah. Like red flags.
Like, no.
Like, yeah. But like give me something that like fills in the backstory a little bit, or like creates ties with these other people. So like it's not that you just sprung fully formed into existence, but like you have a bit of past and like people who know you. Yes.
Yeah. I've been like, that was not something that I had experienced all that much before we started making this podcast. Like the games that I played didn't have a lot of those like connective questions. And I think our Masks one was the first one that I really experienced that like sort of interaction. Because before that we kind of made it up ourselves in the games that I played. Like we tried to do more than just meeting in a tavern or like taking a job together. But it wasn't codified like that. And the moment that we had that in that first like Masks one that we did, I was like, oh, why are we not all doing this? Why is this not? Why more of this, please?
Yeah. There's been a lot of games that we've actually covered that don't have this relationship mechanic in it, that I've thoroughly enjoyed the character creation process, but it's always felt like it's missed just that one little thing to really tie everything together.
Yeah. Because there's always that expectation in games, like you're all going to be working together towards a similar goal, or like at least doing the same things. So there should be a reason like beyond that goal why your people know and interact with each other. Like I don't talk with my coworkers or go out with them or anything, like largely because I don't go into the office anymore. But you know, at the same time, I don't necessarily think that I would, like, just because we all have the same job doesn't make us friends.
Yeah.
Right.
But with role-playing games, you can, you know, come up with ways that you're friends.
Yeah. Well, and you expect that you're all doing the same thing. Like I go into a game session being like, okay, we as a group are going to do something, not Amelia's character is going to do a thing, and then Ryan's character will do a thing. Like it's not, you know, we aren't all having like our own separate storylines. We're doing the thing together. And so I feel like games know that. We as players know that. Why are we not doing that?
Yep.
I don't know. It's good. I much, and I think that was the moment that we got most excited when we were doing our creation stuff, was when we started asking those questions of each other and being like, oh, you know what it is. Like that's the moment where we were excited all along, obviously. Yeah. But like, that was the moment we were like, this is it. This is the Christmas movie moment.
It ties everything together.
It put a bow on it.
Yeah.
So how do we think that character creation in this game stacks up with other systems that we've played. Obviously, it does have some of that playbook kind of feel of a lot of the PBTA games we've covered. It is the first belonging outside belonging game that we've done. But in general, what are our thoughts?
So the thing that I thought of was your little like half episode with the Heartbeats game from the Ultimate Micro RPG Guide, because it kind of like it's that melodrama slice of life thing where it's recreating a very specific genre of media.
Yes.
That is like it's heightened reality. Like you're doing kind of everyday normal things, but it's all much more dramatic and sped up than it normally would be.
And you're talking about it in the language of those tropes, too. Because I know when we did that one, too, there was a little bit of a like, yeah, but at this point, we're in season 7 and we've had a will they, won't they for 3 seasons now. And, you know, talking about it in terms of other media that we know, which is a thing that this game does really well and obviously is meant to do, sort of like recreate those tropes. But we found ourselves using that kind of language around it, too. And I really liked that it gave us those touchstones, that like this sort of shared language around it before we had even looked at this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was really easy to kind of pick everything once you got down to the role as well. Because especially like once we created our small town and everything, it was everything just kind of came a bit naturally. And, you know, I almost had no idea what my character was going to be until like we're like, okay, bees are super important. Wind farms happening. Wind farms disrupt bees. All right, I got my character concept.
Yeah, I didn't look at this game at all before we started recording. Like I didn't flip through and like look at what the choices were for playbooks or anything like that. But it was like we had made our town, and then I was like, okay, event planner, because I want to do that. And by the time we had done those 2 things, it was like everything just fell into place by itself. I don't think there were very many moments where any of us really had to pause and think about stuff. You know, people don't really ever hear that on the final recording because we cut all of that anyway, where we kind of hem and haw about what we're going to pick. But I don't think that we really had a whole lot of that. It was just like, nope, this is what I'm going to do. I know what feels right because we've already established these other things. I know what the tropes are. It's clear to me. And this was so smooth.
Like we found ways to like bring in the map stuff, like which existed before we made people, to make those matter in unexpected ways. Like the wind farm was like could have just been a weird side detail, but like in combination with the bees, like that led to my character concept and Ryan's character concept, and like the coming up with the event put Berry Bell into play, and it all just sort of like pointed us in good directions.
Well, and then like, you know, Ryan's like object that he carries around became like the whole center of what the plot is here of like trying to get people together. And then we came up with that event, and it was like, well, obviously the event is the thing that gets them together because now that's important. And it just like it all, like I said, it all just like fell into place really easily. And I loved it. It was extremely satisfying, which is, you know, what we wanted out of like a fun kind of comfort game anyway. It's like, it just feels like, oh, this was correct. It was correct in every way.
So how does the process of character creation reinforce the feel of this game and set expectations for play?
So I think the town creation part before making characters is kind of setting you up for like, it starts you out collaborating and sharing ideas and creating something together. And like that basically kind of like primes you to keep doing that through the rest of the game. Is, you know, you're going to be listening for what other people's ideas are. You're going to try to find connections between each other or the things that you've made up. And, you know, it sort of lets you dip your toes into the world a little bit and like finding what is important to you in there.
I think it's really important for a GM-less game to start with something like that, where everybody's collaborating, because it sort of reminds you that nobody's showing up with a story for you, that you are already from go doing this thing together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think with the playbook selection itself, it's interesting because each each one has its own kind of built-in story arc to it. So like by picking a playbook, you're basically saying what kind of story you want to tell. And then, we say like, here are all the things we picked together. Like what kind of story are we going to tell with these people? And it's not, in a bad way either. Like part of the joy of Christmas movies is going in knowing what's going to happen. Yeah. And then it's just, you actually make that happen, and you find the little joys and the unexpected moments.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's a thing that I love about, I think the fact that you picked this system for telling these kinds of stories, I think it fits so perfectly, because you're really saying like, here's the kind of story that I want to tell. I know what I want this like ending to be. I know, but like, let's figure out how we get there. Like, what does that look like along the way? It's very much like play to find out, but it's not find out what the ending is, because the ending is they kiss and everyone's happy and they save Christmas. Yeah. But the ending, like to play how do we get there? How do you go from being like big city real estate jerk to like, falling in love at a honey festival in Gulpend. And I just love like the sort of comfort of that kind of storytelling of like, I know what's going to happen, and I know, but I just want to see the joy along the way.
Yeah. As I was making this game, like the Dream Askew, Dream Apart, like the original Belonging Outside Belonging games, the book includes a section on like making your own games, which, is kind of helpful. But the thing that I found most striking is how much that book dedicates towards establishing a tone of play at the table. Like it's not just like, here are the rules, go make a story. It's like, make sure everybody is comfortable. Like, it includes recipes to like cook for the people you're playing, or like tells you to bring snacks. It tells you like, it's not just a way of playing a game. It's sort of like a new way of interacting as people. Like,
it's about the experience, not just the game happening at the table.
Yeah. Like you're not just people playing a game together. You're friends who have like agreed to set aside a few hours out of your busy schedule to make something together. And that should, involve comfort and care and like looking after each other, and also snacks. Yes.
Yeah, I think that this game fits that really well. I think that it really, at least for me, like what I've seen of it so far, which obviously again is like not much, but it really does hit that tone. I think that you did a good job here. You really did.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
One of the questions we ask is looking at the character sheets and seeing how that tells us about the game. I actually want to talk about like the kinds of like roles and playbooks that you picked here. Sure. Why are these ones the ones that you picked? Are there some that you specifically like decided not to pick? Are there, because there's lots of Christmas movies. There's lots of like, how did you distill it down to these particular ones?
So there is kind of a theory of like playbook design that I think J Dragon came up with, where like the first two playbooks you create kind of exist in like opposite poles of a story. And then, the third one kind of like is in contrast to those. And that felt like a very natural way of creating things for a Christmas movie. Because you have that big city, small town dynamic. Like one playbook has to be the person from the big city who, needs to learn what love is. And, another playbook has to be like the person from the small town who like works really hard and solves people's problems, but maybe doesn't have their own stuff in order. And, having those kind of like the two ends of the scale, there are, certain other things, like everything else is going to fall in between those in some way, or in some cases go off in completely different directions. Yeah. Like some of them are just straight up Christmas movie tropes. Like there's a playbook who is the child, who is all about like innocence and, learning generosity. There's a playbook that I call Definitely Not Santa, Winky Face.
I did see that one. I strongly considered that one.
Yeah, and that's just sort of like the vaguely supernatural person who like says like cryptic statements about generosity. Like there's a couple movies where you see a person who's like clearly played by the same actor, but they're like in a completely different role, and you as the audience say like, wait, I know there's something up with that guy, and so that's that's another the kind of weird playbooks, but everything else is kind of, it's built upon a particular trope, even if it's just from a single movie that I saw that I felt could like carry a story on its own, or like, with or support someone else's story, because, there are playbooks like Definitely Not Santa who is more of a support role. But I mean, sometimes it can just be fun to be a weirdo giving out cryptic advice to people.
Yeah. No, I saw the one in there was like, royalty or
the secret royalty.
So are there any that you like thought about putting in but didn't, or like, can't find a way to like sneak in or something like that?
Yeah. So one I had kind of toyed with was a best friend figure. Like that's always the classic trope of like being the main character's best friend who like, gives them advice. And I don't think there was enough there to build a whole playbook out of. Yeah. Like it's definitely a support kind of character, like a child or a Definitely Not Santa, but like I couldn't find an arc for them. Like, do you become a main character, and like is your story going to be like finding your own story? Yeah. And that's
a lot of the best friend tropes in those movies they don't change much.
Yeah.
Right. Usually. They already had it figured out, and why couldn't their friend have it figured out too? Like they knew all along they belonged together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's also no reason that you can't play any of those other things as a best friend if you want to. Yeah. It's not sort of an exclusive. But you're right. It does feel like a thing that like it's kind of weird that it's not there, but like mechanically difficult to put in there.
Yeah. Like the best friend could just be a side character, like through the setting elements, or like actually the Big City Big Shot has the move, call your best friend back in the city for advice. Like that gives you a best friend that you can call. They come in, serve their story purpose, and they don't need to be an entire person.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what do you think is one of the biggest flaws of character creation in this system, and what do you think is one of the best parts?
So I have the same answer for both of those questions.
Lots of people do.
Yeah. Like this game definitely reflects my experience as a story gamer. Like I play a lot of GM-less or rules light things. And so I trust a lot in the other players to like make the choices matter to them. A lot of like PBTA or belonging outside belonging games, they give you these lists that are like really flavorful things, like this is the torn cloak of your former mentor who you swore to avenge. And like I don't want to like lock somebody into a particular mood with something like that. Like I give you sort of vague items and trust that you know what to do with them, or you find a way to make them important without necessarily telling you how to do that or like making that choice for you.
Right.
And, so that's the flip side is I give you some guidance, not a lot, but at the same time, that lack of guidance gives you freedom to make the game your own. Like all these playbooks are tropes, but the particular flavor that you bring to it is what makes it special, not what I give you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Are we ready for the fun part?
I mean, I feel like we've been doing this one.
I know. I said before, I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do it, but it's time for our fan fiction. Okay.
Right.
So Dr. Rick has to help the bees.
I have to help the bees.
He's a bee doctor, a bee veterinarian.
Bee doctor.
I'm a bee doctor,
right.
Yep. I didn't go to bee doctor school for nothing.
Okay. So you came back to this. I guess let's start there. Like you came back to this town because what? Did you know why you came back?
I think I knew that, oh goodness, because we set up a weird paradox, didn't we? Like we set up
that to you.
I know we set up this weird paradox of like, I need to get you two together, and also the wind farms are going to be disrupting the bees,
right?
So, I mean, maybe
you really just made this tough.
Yeah, maybe that's just the tightrope your character has to walk. Like, make sure my parents still get together, but also make sure the wind farm doesn't happen. Because we set up that thing between Summer and Maribel. Like, the town does need infrastructure, and Summer can help with that, but maybe just not the wind farm.
Yeah, or like I said before, the wind farm could exist, but just not in the same location.
Yeah.
So maybe if it was on the other side.
What we actually need is nuclear power because that's actually
clean, safe
solar
power.
We could just go solar. That's gotten
I don't
really
know
cheap
the
lately.
amount of energy that goes into building solar panels versus the amount that they can hold. And anyway, continue. Continue.
It's cheaper than coal. I'm just saying. Anyway, no, I'm thinking like maybe because you two have this potential deal of like that could be going on, right? And maybe I can help sway that to move the location of the wind farm or something, so it's not disrupting the water flow to the pond slash lake Goldpond, and so that way we can keep the lake ecosystem good, which keeps the local bee population happy. So all the flowers and stuff around the lake
and
are still there. And I can
talk to Summer as someone who like also understands city things, because obviously no one around here understands you and what you're about. But I'm like, look, I also know city things and city words and real estate.
Am I the one that introduces you two to get that conversation started? Like maybe you knew of each other before in the big city, but since you've come to the small town, Summer, like maybe you're just too busy, too focused on the wind farm stuff that you're not even you're not looking at anybody in the eyes.
Well, and now you're stuck here because it snowed. And so now maybe you introduce us as like, hey, here's another person that also like, isn't from this backward small town.
Right. Not entirely, right?
Right. But I also like see the value this town has because I'm from here. So like I understand that it really isn't that backward.
Yeah. Ooh, what if like in the future that Rick comes from, Summer and Maribel got together, but they left for the big city, leaving the town behind. So Rick comes from a future where, we're still his parents, but like Rick really cares about the small town. And I took us out of that situation. So your goal is to like get Summer to care about this small town in a way that'll like fix that problem, but still like
that'll
keep
solve
us
the
together.
wind farm issue.
But still set up your parents in a different scenario.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
To like show the charm of this small town and the charm that the festival has. And so like the importance of the event planning for this festival is already skyrocketed because you're planning for your future meet cute, like unknowingly.
Yeah.
So I've got to like drop subliminal hints or something of like stuff to do.
Yeah.
Wow. Ugh.
Oh, I also like the idea of like my memory like slowly changes and has like I've got dual memories for a short period of time as things change in my past, the present of the movie. Which I think would be a really interesting, like I can see things going worse. I can see like my parents not being together at the midpoint of the movie.
Ooh, like the meet cute doesn't go well, and like your left arm starts to fade away. It's like, no, I'm never gonna be adopted. Because that's how that works.
Right, because you fade away entirely as a person if you don't get adopted.
Christmas movie logic doesn't need to make sense.
Yeah.
My hair's not nearly as perfect in those scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Yes, we have to plan this perfect meet cute of, this honey festival.
And it all culminates with the honey kiss.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh, what a good Christmas movie.
What a good movie name, The Honey Kiss.
The Honey Kiss.
Honey Kiss. Like Christmas Honey Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Honey Kiss.
Yeah.
If you take Christmas out and the movie still works, it's not a Christmas movie.
Right. Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then obviously there's the scene where I have to teach you how to ice skate. Because you don't know that because you're from the city.
Uh-huh. Where there are notably no ice rinks in the city.
There's no ice rinks in the city.
Yeah. And
I say having the only place I've ever been ice skating is the Pettit National Ice Center, which is where the U.S. Olympic team practices because that's here in Milwaukee. Only place I've ever gone ice skating.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the thought of Rick having the knowledge of both of you from your past, having told him growing up, and using that knowledge, Maribel really likes, this sort of flower. Or Summer is really great about this, and having this, dropping these hints and stuff.
And I think I want a scene where, air quotes, Dr. Rick has to perform some kind of bee medical
surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, like one of the queens is sick.
Yes.
Oh no, and it could ruin the festival.
Yeah. It could ruin the festival. It could ruin the hive. It could ruin everything.
But you don't actually know anything about bees.
Yeah.
Well, I know a lot about bees, but not about
on our really slow computers in the internet cafe.
Yeah. And you just got the little bee on the tiny metal pen and a very tiny scalpel and
yeah. I just want the scene from what was it, Star Trek 4, I believe it was, the movie where they go back in time trying to find a whale to bring back to the future. And Scotty's just yelling at the mouse because he only knows how to interface with computers with his voice.
Like you're swiping your hand over the computer doctor, what are you doing? This bee needs help.
I'm searching for answers.
Well, we all are, but the bee right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, this is so good.
Rare condition.
A rare condition. Suffering from a broken heart. Oh.
Yeah.
Great. Excellent.
Yes.
Amazing.
Just perfect. Normally we talk about advancement here. So we will chit chat a little bit so that we can get our sound cue in here and take it up a level.
Hooray.
Take it up a level. Take it up a level.
Yay. But we did talk about earlier that this is mostly meant to be a one shot, maybe two. But we do like to talk about character growth. So let's talk about that. When you start out as Summer, the boss from the big city, what does your character growth look like? How does that happen in game?
Yeah. So the boss playbook is kind of built around finding the heart that you've buried and learning to use the money and influence you have for other people's benefit. So I think that is probably going to happen, over the course of our story through, Rick's intense efforts of continuing to put Summer and Maribel together in different situations. Maribel kind of talking to Summer in a way that she understands. I've been to this city. I'm from this small town. Here are the ways that these things matter and that these people matter. And, this whole wind farm deal, it might be very lucrative for you in some way because it's in an alternate universe where there's a lot of money and wind power. But ultimately, there are more important things here. And,
I like the idea too of like Maribel having to like convince herself of those things as she's saying that to Summer, because obviously like she left, like she did not want to be in this small town and is already having lots of feelings about coming back and sort of being, there's that weird feeling of like, you know, like in college when you go and like stay with your parents for Christmas and you're like a kid again and you're like, I've been living on my own for a year. And so like having to kind of convince herself of those things too, that like, no, this place really is worth it.
Yeah. And there already is a future where Maribel did leave again with Summer.
Yeah.
So there's that double duty. Like, yeah, you too are learning about the town again.
Yeah. Do you feel like there are certain playbooks in this game that have like a bigger like growth story than others, or like that allow for that more or require that more than others?
Yeah. So one of my favorite playbooks, which, you know, because it mostly does reflect my experience of like coming from a small town and going to the big city. And like you said, coming back home again, it's called The Returned, you know, and basically it's someone who was from the small town, but, you know, they left and came back. The particular movie that this was drawn from was someone who like left town and became a famous musician, but the person that they used to be in love with, like their farm is struggling. And so, you know, he comes back on this media tour and, you know, not quite reignites, but like interacts with his old flame in ways that like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that's still between us. Like, and like you need to like make up for the truckload of trouble you left behind. And, you know, so the Returned playbook is all about like making amends for certain things in your past, but at the same time, like owning the changes that have happened to you while you're away. Like you stand by your decision of leaving, but you still care about the small town as well. So it's kind of walking that line between like people who used to know you and a place that you used to know, but like finding how to navigate that dynamic while staying true to yourself.
That's a really complicated, like, that's a lot going on in a playbook for a game about Christmas, you know? But like, I think that is something that I very much feel as like somebody who's, you know, even though I'm from the suburbs, but like, even just like the difference between like, you know, like I grew up in a very like religious family and now being out as a queer person and like dealing with that back and forth of like, you know, going back and like being the person that I'm expected to be and, you know, who I am outside of that and all of that kind of back and forth. I think a lot of us experience that, even though it's not about place, but like personality.
Like, like that is part of my lived experience too, is I probably up until I had been living in Philadelphia for several years, like every time I would come home, it's like, so when are you coming back home? Or like, here's a nice place you could probably live in, or hey, here's a job you could work at. I'm like, no, I'm not coming back. I live here now.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's I think for people, even just like in our age group, sort of, I think is a thing that we're going through of that, like, okay, we're sort of early adulthood and like our parents navigating that idea of like, no, we're grown-ups now. Like we're not coming back. You know, we're not in that. I still have siblings that are in college at this point, and they're doing that sort of like, they both live at home. But, you know, it's like go out during the day, go to school, have your jobs, come home at night and you're a kid again. And, you know, I'm in that phase now where like, obviously I have a 10-year-old and everything. So like, I think my parents have given up on me, like coming home. But for a couple of years, I lived with them again after my divorce and all that kind of stuff too. And so that navigating that back and forth between like, you know, like I am my parents' child. I am a parent myself now. Like that has been a really like weird swing back and forth too. There's just like a lot of complicated emotions happening. And I think holidays too, especially like really exacerbate that, where you go back to like those traditions of like how things have always been done and sort of expecting things to fall into place the same way that they always have. It's like a very weird feeling. And it's like an interesting space to play a game in. This was so much fun. I feel like this hit like all of those beats though. Like this hit all of that, like that feeling of like going and coming back and tradition and like wanting things to improve, but knowing they like can't, and like knowing that forward and like the idea that forward movement isn't improvement always. Which is, again, like, this is a lot to pack into a game about Christmas.
Right. Yeah. Like
you put a lot in here.
Yeah. That's something I always include in the games I make, even the weird small ones, is just like a tiny bit of thing that if you drag out a little more, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, life is like that, though. Do you have anything else that you want people to know about this game?
Well, I mean, I know we did kind of like, we did discuss that like character advancement in the story is narrative, but like I want to reiterate that is part of the belonging outside belonging system, is that there isn't any XP for you to gain, there aren't any stats to increase, and like everything about your character is there from the start. So advancing is strictly narrative. Like it's not just that my game is made for short-term play. It's like belonging outside belonging itself is like, it knows what it wants to focus on, and it isn't like mechanically getting better. It's like it's story, it's character getting better.
Yeah, and it's really, it's the if you want to talk mechanics, it's the only thing you really have is the tokens, and you get tokens for kind of doing things that set you back a little bit, and then you can spend them to do, you know, more extraordinary things to do some really cool things with the story.
Yeah.
Oh, this was like everything that I wanted it to be. This was just,
I really
I'm like,
this.
This was so good. And now I just like a minute ago texted my group and was like, hey, next time we have like a week off between sessions, this is what we're doing. Like, I was like, and one of my friends just messaged back to him and was like, yes, good, perfect,
awesome,
like, great, done. We're gonna play this game.
I do love to hear that. Like,
this was great.
Outside of a few play tests, I have not actually gotten to play this game very much. So I'm very excited to like get it out in the world, like at conventions and like other people playing it, and just hearing what people will come up with.
Yeah, I really hope that your stuff at PAX goes well, because I think that like, this is like a perfect time of year for this. This is
absolutely,
this is great. This is great. I had so much fun with this, Danny. This was fantastic. This was so good. This was so good.
Well, Danny, thank you so much for joining us to talk about A Christmas Belonging. I had a lot of fun as well.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Can you remind everyone where they can find you online and what sort of things you're working on?
Sure. Right now I am working on, at any given time, like any game designer, I have a text file full of game ideas that are half-baked, and some occasionally make it out into the world. And when they do, you can find them at dannymakesrpgs.itch.io. You can follow me on Twitter at DannyPlaysRPGs, and you can listen to my world-building podcast powered by Wikipedia, Pod of Wonder, at Pod of Wonder, or wherever podcasts are found.
All right.
Well, thank you again for sitting down with us. This was so much fun, and thank you to everyone for tuning in.
Call to action.
Yeah, like that.
I really love the possibilities with this game. I know on our Discord, a friend of the show, Kevin, pointed out how the sequel to The Honey Kiss could be Rick trying to set up his mom's to adopt himself as a baby.
Oh, man. This puts a lot of pressure on Rick.
I know.
Like, this whole story has put a lot of pressure on Rick. Like, Rick, if you want to exist, you need to put in the work.
I know. Well, I think he'll exist either way. It's just he might not have the right moms or any something. Who knows? So he's got to get the right family so he can have that wonderful home style, like family life in Goldpond. Lake Goldpond, with the upgraded cyber cafe.
Yeah.
That would be such a fun sequel, though.
That would be.
Goodness, I think
this is like, this game has offered so many sequel options that like I also would love to play through, and like
I'm very sad that this will never be on screen.
I know. I keep thinking that every time like we come back to talk about this. It's like my first thought is, what? I've seen way worse movies.
Mm-hmm.
And like, come on.
Who doesn't want a good time travel, like queer romance, bear-themed
romance,
Parent Trap?
Yes. I mean, that has all of the keywords to hit like every demographic, right? Is like Hallmark Christmas movie, kind of queer, tons of bear puns for the dads.
Yeah.
You know, like Parent Trap,
and time
travel, like,
gosh,
it's something for everyone.
Something for everybody. Seriously. I would rate this if I were paid to.
Absolutely.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
But before we let you go, we do have some calls to action today.
Please don't forget about the Waukesha Foundation Community Fund that we talked about last week to help benefit the victims and families of the tragedy in Waukesha at their Christmas parade. We will put a link in the show notes again. If you're able to give, it would definitely help a lot of families this season.
Absolutely. Also, check out the AudioVerse Awards final voting for this 2021 awards season. A Horror Borealis Presents Losers a Love Story, Campaign Skyjacks, and Courier's Call are all up for awards. And it'd really mean the world to me personally if Losers won the Best New Improvised Production, because, that's the all-around award for the category. And everyone that worked on the show made it so phenomenal and
did some of the
such
production?
A personal journey. Yeah, and I did the audio production for it, which was great.
So it'd be cool if it won production, because Ryan did the production, everyone. He's not going to say it, but Ryan did the production, and he would like it to win production. He's going to talk about how everybody deserves to win, and it feels really good. But everyone, Ryan did the production, and he deserves to win production.
I know. It's very good. Like the show is just phenomenal. If you haven't heard it, I highly encourage you to go listen if you're not, easily spooked. But yeah, it's so good.
One last thing to take care of before we sound off for the year. There we go. I can read. We can sound off the year, sound off for the year. Either way. New review. Just in time. Hey. This one comes from Tacit Croquet. I really hope that's how you say it. It's how I'm going to say it. Via Apple Podcasts in the United States of America. It's titled Such a Delight. Yeah. Hosts are so wholesome and have great chemistry together. I love their enthusiasm for the games their guests talk about. Listens like a friend podcast for TTRPG nerds. P.S. The Christmas one is my favorite by far. Thank you so much. It's been one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
I honestly, A Christmas Belonging is like the current game I won't shut up about. I think recently somebody asked for a game to play with their friends, like over the kind of Christmas period.
Yeah.
And I was immediately like, A Christmas Belonging. And then they were like, but not something Christmas themed. And I was like, too bad.
Too bad.
Too bad you're getting this. I was like, I guess if you want, here's a couple other things too we could play.
But this is the one.
But this one.
Do it.
Do it. Yes, this is one of my favorites by far as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the review. Reviews like this really make us super happy to hear. And I'm really glad that this series is somebody's favorite as well. That's really nice to hear.
Yeah. I was going to say too, that, if anybody's looking for like a Christmas gift, because they're like, my favorite podcast host, it's just so hard to buy for every year. They're like my best friends, but I just don't know what to get them. Consider a review.
A review.
Review is, it's a delightful gift. It doesn't have to be wrapped. It's very small, so you don't have to worry about whether it will fit in our homes or fit with our decor or anything like that. And we just love them. Yeah. Honestly, can't get enough of them. You can never have too many. So don't worry. You know what? They probably already have 100 reviews. No, you know what? You can never have too many.
Can never have too many. We have enough reviews for the past, but we'd love more reviews for the future.
Absolutely. So if you were thinking, gosh, what would Amelia and Ryan love for Christmas? Reviews.
Exactly. Well, one last thing before we completely sign off for the year and I'll let you get to the outtakes. 2021.
Woo.
Yeah, what a year, huh?
Oof. Yeah.
a lot's happened.
Yes.
Like,
We both moved this year.
We did. That's wild to think about. We did both move this year.
That was actually all this year.
That was pretty much, yeah.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I mean, like Ryan moved and I was like, oh my God, I moved too. Oh, that was like a lifetime ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the beginning of the year, but.
Yeah. And mine was like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So mine's fresh.
Yep.
I've got new home smell.
Yeah, that good new home smell. Yeah, I've got, mine does not smell like a new home right now.
No, that's okay. But yeah, we did a lot of series this year. We did 11 series, right?
I think so.
Because we took November off.
Mm-hmm.
So we did 11 series. We got one cooked and ready to go for January.
Mm-hmm.
And we covered a lot of really great games.
We did.
And I'm really happy that we got to cover 2 holiday themed games.
Yeah, we got our timing right this year. I mean, only just barely for October, admittedly, like only just barely. And, you know, because life was a lot. Like I just had a couple surgeries. You were getting ready to do the move thing.
Yeah.
But we did it. I loved a lot of the games that we covered this year. I think we really, I feel like this year we kind of grew a lot as hosts. We kind of really came into our own and like settled into some of those things that like have become our thing.
Yeah.
There are a number of things we stopped like pretending we were not going to be necromancers and magical girls. And I think we've had a lot of fun with that.
And we did.
There's been a lot of value to just like being our worst, best selves.
I know. It's fine to lean into your nonsense every now and then or all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
100% of the time.
Yeah. And this year, Tracy Barnett came on the network as kind of an organizer of sorts for like Patreon content and a bunch of other stuff. And they met with us earlier this year and really lit a fire under our feet for like having kind of bringing the passion back.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Mean, I think, you know, it's like we've never not enjoyed making this show.
Right.
You know, because we wouldn't do it. But there definitely was a level of like kind of stuckness.
It was like on a verge of burnout, I would say.
Right. And I think, you know, and a lot of that was just like the state of the world and like, you know, existing is such a burden at this point that like trying to make a creative show and trying to like bring something like passionate and fiery and new and exciting every single time starts to wear on you. And it's just to be like, you know, I can't get dressed every day. You can't expect me to like make some kind of art.
I know.
But, you know, talking to Tracy, I think really lit a fire. It kind of reminded us of like the things that we had originally wanted to do with the show or that like we had thought about, but really couldn't make happen or couldn't figure out how to do. And so like, I'm really, really excited to have Tracy on board as a resource for us to be able to kind of sit down and talk some of that stuff out with, because it's really nice to have a person to just like get on a call with and say like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Like, how does this go from idea to thing?
Exactly.
You know, and that's, I think, helped us. That's been part of the reason that we decided to finally like get our website together and start working on that, which like, you know, is one of those things that like we could have done and should have done and all that kind of stuff, but it is work. It is work. And so, you know, finding the energy to do some of those things. And so I'm kind of excited for some stuff that like we have percolating. And, you know, I think in any other state of the world, we probably would have been like off and running with by this point. Like we would have been like, okay, let's do it. And now we're like, okay, let's kind of figure out like how to do it. And then like where we're going to find that reserve energy to do it. And then, you know, it's a slower process, but I'm still really excited for what's to come.
Yeah. Especially with all the life stuff that we had going on. Like it was hard to work around that even when we had the energy and the drive to do more. And I know, for instance, some of the things we've got cooking in our noodles is bringing back the Friday Forge for the community to create characters together and then figure out how they all blend together and what that world looks like. I thought that was super fun when it was like, you know, in its heyday up and running fully with like dozens of people contributing. That was really cool. But now that we are kind of at a point of being able to get more organized, it's something that both myself and Amelia can work on instead of just me trying to kind of like fret over it while also doing now that I'm working
from home, I have a computer that I can do that on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, it's like that was not the kind of thing that I could just do, like it was too much to try and do on my phone in my office desk.
Oh, yeah.
But, so now I'm working from home. I have a little more wiggle room on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we're figuring out the logistics. We've got some like stuff for the website that we're working on, and it's like partially up and running at this point, but there's a lot in our backlog. We've got almost 4 years of backlog. And
to like put in there. Yeah, entering the games and stuff. It's like each game. Yep. Okay, like, that's we're on an episode. We just finished recording Series 46.
Series 46, that's right around the corner. So that's like a lot
of games. One of those Series 19 was 3 different games. Yep. So, we'd like to do that, the panel, our random characters panel at some point, try and find a way to do that over Twitch. We want to, ideally, I think, get back to our character evolution cast. We loved doing those, but they are significantly more work to put together.
So much more work, yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that we'd like to get back to when we're kind of feeling up to it. I think we're so many years into this pandemic. I think I'm finally at the point where I've stopped feeling bad about not being able to do those things. I'm kind of like, we'll get there. We'll get there. Like the first year was like, oh God, I can't do it. The second year was, I feel so bad, I can't do it. And now the third year we're like, I can't do it.
Oh wow.
So we've reached that phase of radical acceptance that my therapist keeps talking to me about. So here it is, Deb. I did it.
Yeah, good job.
If you're listening, you're probably not. It would be weird if you were.
Why are you this
far into the episode?
I know.
You didn't just like do a little bit.
It's fine. Listen to the whole thing. You'll glean some good psychological profiling.
No, I mean, she already on her own brought up my penchant for color-coded outlines.
That's true.
So I was like, you don't need to listen to my podcast to know that about me. So
that's very true.
It's my world reputation is color-coded outlines, apparently. So
well, here's looking forward to 2022. Yep. We've got 3 2s in the year, so that means it's going to be twice as nice 3 times.
Oh, is that what it means?
I don't know.
What is this? So January 3rd, 2nd or 3rd or whatever, right? It was our like idea-versary.
Yep, January 3rd.
Okay, so what is this year? 4 years? 5 years?
It was 2017.
Was it really?
So it'll be the start of year 5.
Holy moly, was it really? I thought it was 2018.
Maybe it was 2018. It was 2018. it was after my first Acadecon, which was 2017. So it had to January 2018. So it had to have been January 2018. So it's the start of our 5th year, the end of our 4th year. No, 2018, the beginning of our 4th year. I don't know. Time is weird. Math is hard. And you know what? It's Sunday and we're recording this. And it's pretty late. It's dark outside.
It's true.
So I can't math right now.
Right. Ryan did spend most of his day making cookies.
I did.
I spent all of day yesterday making cookies.
We made a lot of cookies.
Antrim Family Cookie Day. Like a reduced version. We only made 5 kinds this year. So it was kind of sad. It was like only covered 2 tables instead of like 5. So a reduced version. But I did want to put in our show notes, I'm going to type up my favorite Christmas cookie recipe, which is 4 gingerbread cookies. And I know there are lots of gingerbread cookies out there, but this recipe is from the 1968 free Wisconsin Electric Christmas cookie book, where cookie is spelled COOKY.
Oh, wow.
Cookie book. So I will type that up. We'll put a link to that in the show notes in case anybody would like to try my favorite Christmas cookie that tastes very much like molasses.
Yeah, and I'm going to put up a recipe to my favorite frosting that I use for my cutout cookies almost exclusively. Oh, and cake, I think sometimes.
And then you can put that frosting on my cookies.
You could.
It would be like the perfect Amelia and Ryan cookie.
Oh, it could be.
Oh, I hope someone makes it.
I hope somebody makes it. If somebody makes it, take some pictures, throw it up on Twitter and tag us.
Yes, please.
Because that'll make us really happy.
It really would. It really would.
I think I did the math correctly, and 2018 was 4 years prior to 2022. So therefore, it's the start of the 5th year after January 3rd.
Okay, so all of 2018, all of 2019, all of 2020, 2021. Yep. So 2022 starts the 5th year. Okay.
Correct.
Got it. That's very exciting for us.
I know.
Happy 5 years.
Happy 5 years.
I'm very excited. I think we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go, and I'm excited to see where it is. And God, I hope people are still listening at this point.
I know. Thanks for joining us for Chit Chat Time with Ryan and Amelia.
Yeah. End of the year chair, end of the year fireside.
End of the year fireside chat. We'll get a U-log going.
Yes. Yeah. That's it for 2021, everyone. We were so glad to have you with us this year on our sometimes bumpy but always fun journey. We are looking forward to 2022 and everything we have planned. We hope that you will join us for the new year and see what fun we have in store. Until then, happy holidays. Please take care of yourself. Stay safe, drink water, please get vaccinated, and keep making those amazing people. We will see you next year.
Character Creation Cast is a production of the One Shot Podcast Network and can be found online at www.charactercreationcast.com. Head to the website to get more information on our hosts, this show, and even our press kit. Character Creation Cast can also be found on Twitter at CreationCast or on our Discord server at discord.charactercreationcast.com. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Bolter, and I can be found on Twitter at Lord Neptune or online at lordneptune.com. Our other host, Amelia Antrim, can be found on Twitter at Ginger Reckoning. Music for this episode is used with a Creative Commons license or with permission from the podcast they originated from. Further information can be found within the show notes. Our main theme music is Hero Remix by Steve Combs and is used with a Creative Commons license. This podcast is owned by us under Creative Commons. This episode was edited by Ryan Bolter. Further information for the game systems used and today's guests can be found in the show notes. If you'd like to leave us a rating or review, we have links to various review platforms out there, including Apple Podcasts, in our show notes. Also, check the show notes for links to our other projects. Thanks for joining us, and remember, we find that the best part of any role-playing game is character creation. So go out there and create some amazing people. We will see you next time.
Now we gotta read some show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs.
Show blurbs. Character Creation Cast is hosted by the One Shot Podcast Network. If you enjoyed our show, visit oneshotpodcast.com, where you'll find other great shows like Asians Represent.
Asians Represent celebrates Asian creators and diversity in the gaming community. Join hosts Agatha Chang and Daniel Kwan as they discuss gaming, genre, and representation with their guests, and occasionally argue with each other to the sound of Agatha's beloved air horn app.
Oh, I did it.
Yeah, click.
Me too. I am getting a lot of that background noise, and I don't like my waveforms. I don't like my waveforms. Amelia.
Do you have background bumpies?
I've got too many background bumpies, Amelia.
Oh, no.
Don't yell at me. That's not my fault.
I know. Well, I messaged my wife, and she's going to turn down the furnace and turn on the fireplace, and it'll
the things you do for love.
I know.
I'd be like, that's great. You deal with it. We live in Wisconsin. It's November. I'm not turning down my heat for you.
Well, I mean, we keep it at 72 or 73 in the house. I don't know why.
Are you nuts?
It's a very...
How do you afford that?
It's a very efficient furnace.
You just moved there. You don't know that. You've not gotten a bill yet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair too.
I keep mine at 68.
I couldn't survive at 68 in the winter or
I can't
fall.
because the furnace is in the kids' room and the airflow is like not very good. So by the time it gets to my room, actually no air comes out of my vent, and I sleep with a heating pad on my feet.
Yeah. Space
It's
heaters and lots of
cheaper,
blankets.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for the furnace to turn off right now. So
This is now home heating cast.
So welcome to the Outtakes, everybody. Hey, it turned off. Okay, how do I sound now?
Well, I don't know. Talk.
I'm going to talk a little bit right now, and we can see how much it makes a difference.
That's some solid talking there.
Yeah,
Some
now you're all
solid-
sharp edges.
All sharp edges, no background bumpies, audacities in the house.
Look at that smooth waveform.
I know.
Audacity's in the house, but certainly not the heat.
No, it's fine. I mean, worst case scenario, I can turn on my little space heater, but that'll make noise too. So I'm just going to freeze for the craft.
Okay. I'm just going to die for my art.
Yes. suffer for podcasting.
Okay. You know what I'm realizing, though, is that I feel like I meant to download this game, and I did not.
Oh, she just turned off the whole thing. She didn't even turn down the heat. She just was like, furnace
Ashley's
off.
serious. She's like, it's recording time.
It's recording time. This is serious time. Come on.
My husband has business. Okay.
So,
Did Ryan, did you save a banging on my microphone? Oh, we haven't
That's bad
recorded in
podcasting.
forever. Hang on, my pop filter is in my closet. I have a pop filter on this right now, you guys. Oh my God, I'm an
language.
amateur.
What did I sign up for?
What is going on? Welcome,
No pop filters.
welcome to Character Creation Sick Cast, where Ryan is sick, Amelia is non-pop filtered and unplugged. So really, Amelia, you're both unplugged and unfiltered.
I know. It's
Get raw.
It's just that raw audio.
yep.
Yeah.
No, I always take it off to go do the stream too, because obviously the pop filter doesn't fit in the
No,
case and everything, and you don't really.
they make pop filters that fit right on the top of the Yeti, the microphone portion itself.
Okay, well, I'm still using
Yeah,
the
I've seen
same
those.
technology I've been using for
I know,
4 years.
but it's like $1. It's like this thing. It's really great.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it makes
yeah.
it look like a fuzzy ice cream cone.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. I mean, in that case, sometimes I put a little Pikachu sock over.
yeah. I mean, that works too.
I can't figure out which way to turn this, though. I can't tell if it's like making it tighter or not. I think also this thing
We
is-
have the same pop filter, and it's garbage.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, this mic supposedly has an internal pop filter, and I haven't had any problems with it. But in a way, it's like I don't have the thing in front of me, so I
Yeah.
feel a little worried.
It sounds like it doesn't have any pops, at least. So that's nice.
Good.
I'm honestly not sure that this one is really doing anything, other than the fact that I can see little spots on it from like where you accidentally spit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Which
does,
is more gross than anything.
it does something when you're talking at the mic.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, so now I have a pop filter on here,
Right.
like a professional.
Yeah.
I also have a less clacky keyboard this week.
Oh, nice.
So that's really exciting. I know this one has clear switches on it
Oh, there you go.
because my poor, sad arthritic hands could not handle the other one.
And I've got a cat that is very curious about my microphone right now because he has free reign to inside my studio / whatever. So I
Oh,
left
that's
him
right.
up a
You
little
don't have a
bit.
door now.
Yeah.
Ooh. Podcast.
My dog is howling because she knows that I'm here and not petting her. And that's like,
That's a crime.
I mean, it's a crime.
It's a
It's a war
crime.
crime, probably. To the Hague.
Uh-huh.
Do we have Ryan, did you save a copy of the game somewhere? Or
I've got it. We have it in our email.
Yeah,
okay.
catch the most
okay,
recent
cool.
version.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yep.
Because it is ever in flux as
Awesome.
the Christmas season is upon us.
Well,
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta keep it fresh, you know.
Mhm.
You don't want any of that outdated, old-timey Christmas crap.
No. All the hot new trends in Christmas movies. You know.
Because Christmas is all about keeping up with the times. There's
Yeah.
nothing worse than old-timey Christmas.
No. It is an art form known for innovation and risk taking,
Oh my
and
God.
I need to reflect that in the
I
game.
know.
There's a plane flying behind me. I'm just going to be silent for a few seconds.
Of course there is.
Just right when what I say starts to matter.
So here's the question: is like, do you live in the big city or the small town? Is that someone coming or going for your own personal Christmas movie?
That's true. I'm in the big city, so presumably coming in, but maybe departing. I don't think there's even an airport near me. I'm not quite sure why to find over this area.
It's an even bigger mystery.
Okay, I think it's gone now.
Kid intrusion.
Yay! That voice might be too gravelly for
Oh, it is.
your cough.
Sorry, outtakes.
Oh my gosh. This... We started playing Christmas Belonging with my group over the weekend.
Yeah.
We made it through character creation and like town creation before we got too tired. So we're going to maybe pick up next week or next time we have an off week or something. But that was one of the things is like there's these people in the town that like run a ski resort, and then there are the goat farmers, and they're obviously against each other because they both want to expand and they can't because the other one's in the way. But the one thing that they agree on is that they don't want capitalists coming in from the outside and changing their town. So every year, as part of their Christmas tradition, they burn a capitalist in effigy. So we haven't decided who this year's capitalist is, but
is it like generally the Monopoly man? Only with somebody else's face on it or something?
I was like, it's the Monopoly man. We just burn the Monopoly man. And they were like, no, it is a specific capitalist every year.
Oh, targeted capitalism.
Yeah, whoever's causing the problem. Like the first one was some railway baron who was trying to build a railroad through the town.
It's like borderline hate crime, but justified.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like Capulets and Montagues, goat farmers and ski resort people.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
But the common ground is the love of hating capitalism.
Right. But the thing the town desperately needs is an Italian restaurant. So it is possible that a big chain Italian restaurant could come in.
Olive Garden.
This is what we had to play to find out is what happens.
Yeah. And then we can LARP at the local Olive Garden.
Right. That's how we're going to wrap it up.
That's true.
So we're going to go to our local
Got to wrap it up by playing a meta game of When You're Here, Your Family by Jeff Stormer, and play it as your characters.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah. Now we're going to the next level.
Now it's real. Cold open.
Let's do a cold open.
Let's do a cold open. Now that I'm done ranting, and obviously you do not have to put all of that in there. But.
Let's do a cold open with a cold.
Oh, a seasonal cold open.
Excuse me. As you can tell by my coughs, which I may or may not leave in the outtakes, I'm still sick.
Yeah, it's just like kind of dry though. It's like not like it's just like hanging on, huh?
It's hanging like in that like weird triangular shape.
Not quite chest cold, but like
it's like very upper lungs / throat cough that makes me want to just like, I don't know.
Hot tea and lemon. I don't know.
I've done that. I don't know. I've done tea with honey and like cough syrup and expectorants and all sorts of other fun stuff. And it feels like it's getting better, but it's just, it lingers and then it attacks me with this like random cough here and there. Yeah.
You got to rest is what you need.
Yeah. I'm going to try.
What a joke. Huh? Rest. Who does that?
Rest in this capitalist society.
In this economy.
In this economy.
Oh my God.
All right. So now everybody knows why we're anti-capitalist in most of our selections on this podcast.
It's true. It's because I never want to have to ask people their middle names again.
I know.
What's your middle name?
Yeah, it's Richard.
Oh, there you go. It's a nice middle name.
Yeah. It's a family traditional middle name for a lot of people. on my mom's side.
Nice.
Named after my Uncle Dick, which I think is
Mine
my great uncle.
Grace. Because I am named after my grandma Amelia, and my mom felt that her name, Amelia Cecilia, was too much. So I'm Amelia Grace.
It's very close to Amelia Bedelia.
Right. And people already call me that, and I hate it. So I'm glad that I'm not Amelia Cecilia.
Yeah, that would have cemented that for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I didn't know about the Amelia Bedelia books until after I had met you.
Really?
Yeah. I was sheltered from that for some reason.
Sheltered. My parents were like, no, Amelia Bedelia for you. Yes. She might make a great lemon meringue pie, but she does not understand how to dress a turkey.
No, she does not. Or draw the drapes. Or
she makes that little pants. I like those books. Like, that's the thing is, like, I like those books, but I don't want to be called that. You know?
No. My favorite, this is the last aside, my favorite Amelia Bedelia thing was she had to turn out the lights or take out the lights or turn out the lights or something like that.
Yeah.
After she was done. And so she did, and she hung them outside, and she said, I guess light bulbs need to be hung outside just like babies. It's just like random comment that has nothing to do with the story.
Go back to that, Amelia.
Okay.
Take everything so literally.
I know.
Change the towels, and she like cuts them all up. Now they're different.
Now they're different.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Aww. All right.
I just want to do like a.
All right. So I'll try not to laugh because that exasperates my cough.
I'm sorry. I will not be funny.
Okay.
Very serious.
Very serious. That's a serious business.
Serious podcasting business.
Oh, trying to hit that button.
Is this car alarm in the background picking up any?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured. Right.
We can wait a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, it's kind of showing up on Audacity, so maybe.
I was going to say, I can hear it. I don't know how much is getting.
Yeah, if it shows up in Zoom, it's going to show up in Audacity for sure.
Yeah, it did stop now.
So hooray.
Okay.
And we can hit stop on our local recordings at this point. And we're stopping. Hey, clacky.
Clicky.
Don't take it backy.
Interesting. All right. I'll allow it.
Clicky clack. Don't take it back.
Okay, I'm going to look and make sure that it's not being funky again.
Yes, no funky.
Do.
I mean, it sounds fine.
Yeah. I think that I'm seeing the little lines go all the way up, so.
Yeah, it should be all right.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yup.
Yep.
Oh. Oh, that looks cool in the spectrogram, though. All right, we're gonna go to waveform.
Waveformat.
Formes? Waveformes.
Wait for it.
Waveformes.
Waveformat.
Okay. Great. Glad we did that.
That'll go in the outtakes, I'm sure.
Waveformes.
Yeah. So I'm really happy that we're sounding better because
that you're sounding better.
That I'm sounding better. Yeah, exactly. Because oh my god, like just editing this series is hurting my brain. I feel so
bad. Like listening to this one, like I feel so bad because I'm like it's such a good game and I sound like I don't know, like I was recording live from prison. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's fine. And I just sound like I've got, cotton up my nose.
I mean, you did. Well, not cotton. You just not, but that's fine.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that.
Okay. Great.
Let's not, Nirin.
Let's not. It's not appropriate, Ryan.
It's Sunday. It's fine. I'm fearful because my son is getting sick again. So this is like the third or fourth time.
These kids, Ryan, I say once again, these kids.
I know. Seriously. Like, just keep your mask on all day, even when you're eating somehow.
Nothing but trouble. But see, that's the thing, though, is that like even if they did that, they would still find a way because children are always covered in stickiness and snot. Like, always. Children, it's just how they are.
Find a way.
Just life finds a way. And by life, I mean germs.
Yep. All right. Well, should we do this?
We should.
All right. I'm going to give us a
We've
countdown.
certainly been not doing it for long enough.
That's very true. And my wife wants to make Christmas cookies. So We'll see. Here's the countdown. For now, let's hop back into the series and see how character creation goes for this game. Enjoy the show.
I really don't like hop back into it. I just really want it to be a bear pun.
Hop back.
Can you just say, like, for now, bear with us? Thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was necessary.
All right. I'm going to do the recap real quick because this is where I would edit it. Stop it.
Okay, but you do have a lot of weird noise in your background again.
Yeah, my water heater started up again because my wife is doing dishes.
Oh, okay. All these new things in a new house that you're going to have to figure out.
I know. This is the one thing I can't control.
Yeah.
Like, I can't unplug the water heater.
No.
That's just, I can't. We've turned off the furnace, so that's not a trouble. And the kids are kept out of the room. That's easy enough. I've still got a cat here, but he's just chilling.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, my dog has like stopped grumping, I think.
Yeah.
I get rid of my children. I just like don't
Yep.
Don't
They're
even
just
keep
out of
them
the
here.
house.
Like get out of here. They got mad at me because I ate their Halloween candy on my way out. Because they decided to keep it all at their dad's house. And I felt like that was extremely rude. Because what is the point of taking children trick-or-treating if you can't eat their candy? And I dressed up in a costume with them and everything.
You're not eating their candy. You're doing it for their health.
Yeah.
Well, right. Like, I'm just looking out for their tiny growing bodies, you know?
Exactly. They don't need that much sugar.
No.
They don't
So
see it
you
that
might
way.
as well, and you don't want it to go to waste.
No.
You're
I
doing
fell
society and them a favor.
I fell asleep while we were
hit.
watching our movie last night, and Nate's like, yeah, I know, I was trying to eat your candy, because we always have movie night candy. And Nate's like, I was trying to eat your candy last night, but you fell asleep on top of it, which was extremely rude of you. And I was like, sorry, man. Now you know how it feels. Okay. Are we ready?
I mean,
Yeah.
Or do you want to wait?
I don't know if we can wait like a couple minutes.
Sure, I can wait a
Because
couple
it's
minutes.
usually like a 5-minute thing
Yeah.
that this goes on for, and then it just stops suddenly, and then it's good for like a good hour or so.
Okay. I'll eat these
Okay,
gummy sharks.
sure.
Yeah, there you go. I'm still finishing my 6th or 7th cough drop this recording.
Oof.
Wow.
I know you're only supposed to do one an hour, but you know, I got to be professional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So did it just like kind of start back up again, or?
Yeah, I was like no coughing for like a couple of days, and it was glorious.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, like Quinn starts coughing again.
Ugh, that's what it
And
gets you.
then I start coughing again, and then it gets even worse. And then
I know my kids have had colds like nonstop since school started again, because we all have no immunity at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been, like I've always had a really good immune system between like my mom being a nurse, and then I work in a hospital, and I had kids in school or daycare, or like, so it's like I'm just used to this stuff all the time. And now the last 2 years of being home and not being around anybody, and like my kids did virtual school all year last year.
yeah,
Nobody's had to go anywhere near anything. So
yeah, immune systems.
now
They
it's
are.
like, you know,
If there was
anywhere
only
near
a way
it,
to like artificially like inject those sorts of like immune responses.
you're describing a
Into-
vaccine,
Yeah.
Brian. You're describing vaccines.
Yeah.
They literally inject you with them. Mm-hmm.
I know. If they could do that in a controlled way, so that way you don't get sick for all this time.
Yeah, it's called a vaccine,
they do.
Ryan.
Yeah.
They do that. They do that. That's why you get a flu vaccine. So that you
The
don't.
more you know.
There hasn't been a lot of vaccine news lately. I could understand.
What did you think vaccines were?
Well, I mean, just that.
Do not say microchips. Do not say microchips, Ryan. I will end this call. I'm not in charge of this call. I will end this call.
No.
I always think when people say that stuff, I'm like, do you think that if they had that technology, that's what they would be doing with it?
Yeah.
Like, that's always the thing that gets me. I'm like, do you think that you, Steve Nobody, are that interesting that that's what Bill Gates is doing with his microchips that are tiny enough to fit in it? Like, that's what you thought that he would want to do.
They're already in your phones.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much easier to track everybody through your phones than
You're already broadcasting your location 24/7 through your phone.
Right? Like, without anybody asking to you. Like, you tell me what you are up to, whether I want to know or not. I don't need to inject you with a microchip to do that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I just want to, I want to live in a world where I think I'm that important that's what they would use that technology for. Like, I want to have that level of self-esteem.
Yeah.
I aspire to the self-esteem of a conspiracy nut crazed straight white man like that. Yeah. Someday.
Like, the government is watching me. Like, that would be so, like, to have the government watching you, like, with everything that they have to do to take the time to watch you specifically.
Right? You think that you are that important to them?
Oh.
How's your water heater, Ryan?
It's still going.
Oh.
But I turned down my gain. Does it sound fine?
It does. I don't hear it now.
Okay, because I'm not getting as many background bumpies now that my gain has turned down a bit.
Yeah.
And I can deal. I think I'm going to turn it down just a slight little bit more. Do I still sound okay?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna keep talking real close to the mic like this, and
get all up on it.
I'll just get right up on that mic, and we'll be good.
Honey kiss the mic.
Yes.
Oh, honey kiss the mic. Yep. Oh yes.
Something is up with my microphone here, though. Like, my waveforms are like it's like thick, like a really, and I didn't adjust anything other than restarting my computer.
You're on the right microphone source, right?
I bet I'm not. No, I am.
Okay.
I am. I don't understand what happened.
I don't know.
But, like,
I mean, is it like thick background noises or thick just regular waveforms?
No, thick background junk.
Oh.
Maybe it's because my heat kicked on.
Oh yeah. When your heat kicks on, I see that so easily.
Okay.
But it's easy to get rid of. It's fine.
I only keep my house at 68. I am not turning my furnace off.
It's fine.
Okay. All right. It just worried me for a minute because it wasn't like that in our last recording and I didn't touch anything and already the keyboard wasn't working and the mute button's not working and okay. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's great.
It's fine.
Everything's great.
All right. There we go. We did it.
We did it.
We can stop the recording.
Last recording of the year.
Of
probably.
the year. More than likely.
We keep meaning to do all the stuff and that life is hard and this is podcasting.
Oh, that sounds like a nice 1990s commercial jingle.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good.
That's all I ever wanted.
We just need a nice guitar sting behind it and we'll be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe some like unnecessary background vocals.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll see what I can do in post in like 2 hours.
Yeah. Let's, or don't.
Or don't. Or maybe.
Or spend quality time with your family.
Consider it. Don't do that.
Yeah. Both are options.
They are options. Options are available, and that's okay.
Yep. Last recording of the year, probably.
Of the year.
We keep meaning to do other stuff, and that life is hard, and this is podcasting.
Oh, boy.
All right. I will do a 5 count, and we can get going.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And by 5 count, I mean squeaky puppy in the background.
That's fine. We'll go with sure.
Right. Great.
All right. Call to action.
Action. Yeah, like that.
Perfect. Ooh. All right. I guess we can stop this one, huh?
Oof, yeah.
This is